it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy and ascension forecast for Sunday, August 7th to Saturday, August 13th. So last week we came into August like a freight train. Let's say, of course, we jumped into a brand new lesson of 8, a true transformation where we are seeing things die within ourselves, within our circumstances, in order for things to be reborn. We had a lot of that freight train energy really being triggered and activated by this Uranus and true node conjunction. Of course, we had Mars in the mix as well, god of war, and this really kind of fired us up. This was a once-in-a-lifetime event. So for those of you wondering why this past week has been so roller coaster-like, so anxiety-ridden, anticipation, jittery, very kind of at the end of our rope kind of energy, we have that to kind of put the blame on. Not to mention, August is a portal month. We are on the precipice of making a dramatic shift in our realities and essentially quantum leaping into a new timeline, if you will. And all of this energy is definitely contributing to the overall edginess that we're all feeling. That edginess was kind of multiplied with Mercury moving out of Leo and moving into Virgo. I don't know how many messages I got Wednesday moving into Thursday about, mental health issues, being impatient, jitteriness, anticipation, being frustrated, having, a lot of mental pressure. And my very first reaction is, did you listen to the astro forecast? No. Did you listen to the daily forecast? Nope. Did you listen to the ascension forecast? Nope. I know it sounds a little bit cold, and I'm sure those that reach out to me with those types of concerns are looking for a little bit more comfort and validation in my response. But honestly, guys, I don't do these forecasts for fun. This isn't entertainment. This is to help. And if y'all aren't taking the time to listen to these forecasts, to really dive into the energy and prepare for the days, especially around significant events, and prepare yourself for what that is going to do to you mentally and emotionally, I don't know how else to help. So the overwhelming amount of messages, DMs in my inbox that I got Wednesday moving into Thursday about the jitteriness, about the headspace, about just being impatient, about the detours, about it all. We're going to address this in the Ascension forecast here in just a second. But again, please just understand that when the energy is potent, especially where Uranus and Mercury are involved, because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, who connects to the higher realms of intelligence. Mercury is our low-level intellect. Stepping into his place of power in Virgo, you best believe that is a lot of nervous energy. That is a lot of energy to have in the mental plane, the higher mental plane and the lower mental plane. It's a lot of energy and electricity to actually have coursing through our physical bodies. It's going to have a direct effect on our central nervous system. That's why I do these ascension forecasts. That's why we talk about the physical symptoms that we can expect for the week to come, especially around the days in which we do expect there to be a lot of astro weather, a lot of energy shifting. So again, I know I'm sounding like a nagging Nancy here, but again, I put all of this information out. All of my content is jam-packed, full of knowledge. I can't sit you down and make you listen to it. That is an accountability and a responsibility that you have to have within yourself. Make these forecasts a part of your daily routine. It is to your benefit to prepare for the week ahead and for these very dramatic shifts. So, Mercury moving into Virgo just yesterday has put a totally different vibe on our mental plane. We are, so overwhelmed, so focused. I bet you any money everybody's got a new to-do list being kind of constructed in front of them, because we have to get things organized. We have to put things in order. And on top of the nervous anticipatory energy that we're all feeling as we move closer to this Lionsgate portal, it would be a benefit to try and get all of your thoughts out of your head and on paper. That way we can do a little bit more construction, if you will, on importance, instead of just having ideas and energies bounce around in your head. And if you're listening to me Friday evening, if you're live in the chat, I want to thank you for being here. But I also want to remind you that we are sitting in the energy of the very first quarter moon in Scorpio. So, like I kind of mentioned in the Ascension forecast last week, this first quarter moon is always an action point. It is always intense when we get to any first quarter moon, because we're taking our intentions, our realizations, our new passions and desires that got actualized and realized under the new moon energy, which for us was the new moon in Leo on the 28th of July, really cracking open our heart chakra and aligning us with our rawest, truest, most vulnerable self. We had to have that heart chakra activation. We had to have it. We have to realize where it is that we have to play big. We have to realize where it is that we have been denying ourselves happiness and pleasure and joy. And the realization has brought us to this first quarter moon point where we got to shit or get off the pot. We got to figure out what it is we want to do with ourselves. And of course, that adds to the intensity, to the urgency, to the anxiety that many of us are currently thinking and feeling. Not even to mention that the moon in Scorpio is always a very deep, trivial time of figuring out what is going on within us, what needs to happen outside of us. The Scorpio energy is reminding us of this life lesson that we're in, with the true nodes being on the Taurus and Scorpio axis, showing us what we have to surrender to, let go of, put a death to, provide an ending and a closure to, in order for something new to be born. We get the creator energy coming from Taurus. We get the death energy coming from Scorpio. Either way, there is a huge transformation going on. And that transformation is starting in our mental plane, in our heart space, inside of us, long before we will see those changes take place in our physical reality. There's a lot of intensity going on. And the fact that I feel like people continue to be surprised with their emotional state or their mental state or circumstances popping off in their physical life really makes me wonder, what more can I do to help prepare and to help align us to these energies? If I'm putting out all this content and I'm constantly, trying to make sure that we're all ahead of the game and do what I feel is my best in bringing forth this information, and then I still have people that are literally on the verge of mental breakdowns and not realizing that we needed to expect this, that this is happening. We talked about it. We should have been preparing for it for weeks upon weeks. Like, what else can I do? My whole goal here, the reason why I do what I do, is to help prepare you all for the collective shifts. And I feel a little bit discouraged, I guess, over this past week to have as many of you reach out to me, with a quote unquote crisis or an urgency or an impulse or being on the edge of an emotional or mental breakdown. I get discouraged because I'm like, how else can I provide any more knowledge than I already do? How can I prepare you guys? How can I help with this, very difficult roller coaster? It really kind of puts me in a situation where I don't feel like I'm doing my job adequately or doing enough, or else I wouldn't have as many people as I do reaching out to me at these critical energy shift times, feeling like they are lost, feeling like they are at a point of a breakdown. And that is really kind of hurtful to my heart, because I don't want to see anyone struggle in that way. So I don't know if y'all got any feedback on, what I could be doing differently or how I could help in a different way other than what I've been doing to help prepare, for these energy shifts. Drop me a line, put it in the comments, drop it in the chat. I'm here to help. I am an energy guide. That's why they brought me back to life. It's why I'm in the position that I'm currently in. I just feel overall just saddened and discouraged to see how many people are still struggling, even though all the information is out there. And granted, the majority of the people reaching out, again, have not listened to the energy forecast that I put out. Their automatic and immediate response is to just jump into a message, jump into my inbox. They want the one-on-one support, and I'm not here for that. There are far too many of us going through the same things for me to have to take a time out and individually guide people throughout their journey. That's what I spent the first 10 years of my journey doing, was one-on-one consultations, because at that time, the awakening hadn't happened, and very few of us were actually on the same page of awakening. So it was easy for me to kind of pour into the one-on-ones. But I mean, look at our community, look at our, connections here. There are too many of us going through the same things. This is why I've shifted my practice to, helping groups and helping a larger audience, because there's no need for me to, quote unquote, waste my time or energy trying to help one person through an event that everyone is going through. So again, I'm just going to, be the nagging Nancy here. Please make sure that you're incorporating all of the content that I put out in your daily routine so that you can stay ahead of the game. Your healing journey, your ascension journey is your responsibility, and you have to be accountable to yourself. You have to be the one preparing. You have to be the one that is opening yourself up to knowledge, because again, knowledge is power. And if you're choosing not to do that, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're probably not going to ascend with the rest of us. And the plain and simple truth is that the majority of people, they're not even close to ascending. They're not even on the journey. They think they are because they're open to spiritualism, and they think they're woke because they understand what's going on in the 3D matrix. That is not ascension, my friends. Ascension is doing the shadow work and eliminating the low vibrational frequencies that come with certain thoughts and certain emotions, and being able to remove those particular vibrations and have a higher vibration and frequency that becomes your norm, activating each one of your energy centers, activating each chakra system, activating each of the petals on each chakra that, when they're all opened up, equal 144,000. That's right. You get all these people walking around thinking that 144,000 of the chosen ones are actually 144,000 individuals. Has nothing to do with that. You need to have a fully open, fully activated, fully aligned chakra system with all 144,000 petals open and activated in order for you to actually even begin the ascension process. And a lot of people have no clue what I'm even talking about right now, which means that there is a lot more work that I have to do in order to inform and educate and help others align to what this ascension process actually is. Laying on the couch, feeling achy, feeling, sad, and not doing anything to move the energy and to alchemize it into something lighter is just you suffering. And if you've been activated, which I'm sure you have, or else you wouldn't be listening here, to sit around and just, navigate through the pain and suffering is not the ascension process. The ascension process is sitting in the pain and suffering and using healing modalities in order to alchemize it into something lighter. That's how we open our energy centers and our chakras. That's how we align them. That's how we have a full activation of our Kundalini spirit and energy coming up through the chakra system, the 33 vertebrae in our spine that gets to the top of our crown, opens up our third eye, connects the crown to the rest of the world, to the web that is this particular collective. And that, my friends, is how we ascend. But a lot of people, unfortunately, tuning in and listening have no clue what the ascension process is. They have no clue how to attempt it. And even if they did, I don't think that there is a whole hell of a lot of accountability going on in people's lives right now where they are doing the deep shadow work in order to actually move through these vibrations and frequencies. And I find it horribly disappointing and horribly frustrating a lot of the time when I realize that, you know what, people just don't get it. And I just don't know how to help that cause. So if you feel like you are constantly in pain and you are constantly suffering and you're feeling, the vibrations and the frequencies, the light codes coming in and it's doing nothing but just making you, paralyzed in a way, I hate to tell you, but you have a lot of work to do. You have to educate yourself. You have to figure out how it is to move through these particular energy fluctuations and actually rid yourself of the lower vibrations and frequencies that are being illuminated in your physical form. That's why you're having pain. That's why you're having discomfort, because you're not moving the energy. And you know what? It's a self journey. It's a solo journey. I can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. No one is coming to save you. But to sit around constantly being activated and having the energy blockages just show you where in your physical form that the work needs to be done and you're not doing anything about it, I just don't know how you expect to ascend with the rest of us. So I know that was a little bit of a rant that, seems a little bit of a Debbie Downer and a little bit frustrating, but I cannot tell you, especially seeing how we are on the very brink, the very precipice of a dramatic shift where many of us will be quantum leaping into the future. I cannot tell you how frustrating and disappointing it is to see how many people just have no clue what is going on. And, like I said, even if they did have a clue, there's so many people that are just not accountable and responsible enough to do the work, to do what is necessary in order to actually get in alignment for this ascension process to actually take hold and to jump with the rest of us. So, as somebody who has been pouring my heart and soul into trying to, do what I can for the collective for the last 12 plus years, I'm exhausted. I'm frustrated. I'm at the end of my rope with some people. And so I just thought it was a little bit necessary as we approach the energies coming into this week that I go off on a little bit of a tangent. With that being said, though, what do we got going on this week? Well, we have the 8-8 portal, the Lionsgate portal. That is pretty much the blame for all of the restless energies, for the anticipation, for the anxiety. This, a lot of the times, and I am going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, especially in the spiritual community, in this new age community, they always hype up the Lionsgate portal. And to be honest with you, not every year is the Lionsgate portal in a perfect alignment with the pyramids of Giza as they should be, that actually contributed to our ancestors celebrating the Lionsgate portal. Doesn't happen every year. Our, I'm going to say, false illusion of worlds and space and astrology and, having the poles shift and the alignment be a little bit off means that we're not aligning with the particular Stargate systems that our ancestors observed and continued to worship for thousands of years. And what's funny is that this year we're very close to actually having a perfect alignment. And because we are in this, very rare one-off event with this Uranus and True Node conjunction, this would be the year for everybody to hype up, this portal being a very potent one of significant change, one of significant transformation, one of huge alignment, huge blessings, huge abundance coming in, one of huge importance for us to get our mind right. Again, Mercury just moved into Virgo. This is mind over matter. We have to hold a visual so freaking strong in our mind's eye and back it with an emotion in order for us to be able to manifest it as we go through this very potent Stargate. And I just noticed the same old generic bullshit, to be honest with you, in the spiritual and new age community talking about the Lionsgate portal. Half the people don't even know what it means. It's, if we were to backtrack, this is about the stars of Orion's belt being perfectly aligned with the pyramids of Giza, having that particular energy only be appearing in the night sky where Leo rules, because of course Leo is our heart and soul of the zodiac. It is the royalty of the zodiac. It is our highest form of self. It is our most raw, authentic, and vulnerable self in this Leo energy. And, you know, to be aligned with the Sirius star system, which is essentially our higher form of intelligence, there's a lot of science to it. There's a lot of strategy to it. There's a lot of history to it. And you just get these new age people talking about, oh, it's Leo season, new moon in Leo, Leo the lion, Lionsgate Portal, blah, blah, blah. Oh, 8, numerology, you know, blah, blah. It's just annoying, to be honest with you. And part of me just doesn't even want to be a part of this community because I hate being chunked into all of these quote unquote fraudulent people that have no clue what they're talking about. Then the other part of me is like, you know what? You're not one of those people. You got to bring the proper information and the proper understanding to the forum so that you stand apart from these, you know, not so aligned, not so truthful people. They're just in it for the hype. They're in it for the views. They're in it for the subscribers. I could care less. I literally just want people to be the best selves. I just want people to avoid the lower vibration and frequency emotions in their mental plane that this 3D matrix has been constructed to trigger and activate all the freaking time. I honestly, when it gets down to it, I just want to do my job and fulfill my mission so that I can go home. This is not my home. I haven't even felt comfortable in this physical realm, in my physical body, since I was brought back to life in 2009. And I can't wait to have a completed mission and to be called home. I cannot wait for that. So I wake up every day and, you know, I struggle with the highs and the lows of what it means to have knowledge and to be able to channel information from other realms and to be put in an awkward position to be the weirdo out here in the community, bringing forth this information and trying to help assist the collective and actually raising our vibrations and frequencies to a point where we can shift out of this 3D matrix, and constantly, like I said, disappointed and just disheartened at the lack of knowledge, the lack of discipline, the lack of commitment, the lack of accountability by most human beings. It's absolutely sickening to me. So I constantly have to be giving myself a pep talk and saying, you know what? Don't worry about them. You keep your head down. You keep your blindfold on. You keep focused on your job. You do your job well. You do it to the, you know, your best capability, and just hope and pray that the mission gets a completion sign off here soon and I can go home. That's the fact. That's the truth of the matter. And I think that if more people were a little bit more focused on just fulfilling their soul contract and doing a good job of their mission, just so that they could return home, we would see a dramatic shift in the collective and in humanity. But again, everybody's out here thinking that something else is coming to save them, and, you know, getting caught up and not fully understanding why we're even here and what this Earth School is all about and how we're even supposed to graduate from here, that, you know, this is why we're in a state of craziness and chaos. So we got this Lionsgate Portal. Okay, this is going to be a huge energy. We've been feeling it already. The portal gate opened back on the 24th, and it will continue to be open until about the 12th. We're at our peak energy at the 8/8 portal. I'm going to tell you right now, expect to feel crazy. Expect to feel pressure. Expect to feel the roller coaster ride. Expect heart activations. Expect to not know where you're going. Expect not to know who you are, or where you're supposed to be going, or what direction you're supposed to be oriented to. Expect confusion. Expect a breakdown. Why? Because a breakdown and confusion always happens when we're about to break through and when we're supposed to gain a whole hell of a lot of clarity. So expect that. Put that on your list of things to do, is have a little bit of a breakdown, have a little bit of a tantrum, have a little bit of a meltdown. Okay? Tap into your inner child. This Leo energy is inner child. Tap into that scared little inner child. Tap into the curiosity and confusion of trying to figure out what life is. Trust in the confusion. Trust in the uncertainty. One thing you can count on for the rest of your life is confusion and uncertainty. Lean into it. Everybody wants to run away from it. Lean into it. It is part of the process. Now, as if that wasn't enough, we have Venus moving out of Cancer and moving into Leo on the 11th. Now, the 11th is a master number day. We always have a potent energy, a potent shift in our mental plane and heart space on master number days. 11th, 22nd, they're always master days. They're always very potent. There's always something going on. There's always an intensity. There's always a little bit of a confusion before that clarity on the 11th of every single month. Does not change, okay? We're in a matrix of systems and patterns. And once you identify the system and the pattern, I'm telling you, your life is going to be different. You're going to be ahead of the game. Once you realize that the rules and the regularities of the script that we are constantly living, you can expect this stuff. You're not going to get all out of sorts in your emotions and in your mental plane when you understand the system that we are constantly in. This is about patterns. This is about recognizing patterns. This is about recognizing what the patterns kind of trigger in us and riding the wave, people. This is part of the process. Anyways, all of us will be super happy when Venus moves out of Cancer because we've been hypersensitive. Many of us walking around just on the verge of bawling, having that lump in your throat. Many of us crying anyways. Many of us very torn, very heartbroken over what it is that we want, need, and desire, because what we want, need, and desire isn't necessarily what life is giving us right now. We don't know how to go after that. We're having a lot of relationship issues be illuminated. Again, the reason being is because we're at a choice point. You have to have things pop off in order for you to get real and vulnerable with what kind of choices and decisions you need to make in personal relationships, in physical circumstances. We are on the precipice of a huge transformation. Okay, you have to expect things to get to a boiling point. You have to be at the absolute edge where you're just about to lose your shit in order for you to actually get real with what needs to be taking place in your life, where boundaries need to be put into place, what you are and are not willing to tolerate ever again. This is why we're going through it. So Venus moving into Leo is going to be a beautiful thing because that's when the intensity passes. This is when we get in touch with our heart and soul again, the Leo energy. This is when we try to be a little bit more playful and lighten the vibe because Lord Jesus knows we've been stuck in the muck for a very long time, especially in this Cancer energy. We're just tired of feeling overwhelmed. We're tired of just being kind of beat down. We're tired of sitting in our unworthiness, our unlovability, our loneliness. We're tired of sitting in the shadow of our emotions. So the sun that rules over Leo brings us out of that. It dries us off from this very emotional water energy that this Cancer energy has brought to us. And from this transition of Venus moving into Leo, not only are we getting cracked open in all the right ways, not only are we seeing where it is that we have to make some changes to kind of authentically align with a new worth, a new value within ourselves, where new boundaries have been beat down and destroyed, and where new ones need to be kind of created, we have to open ourselves up again. This is going to be a new sense of individuality, a new sense of our own uniqueness, where it is that we have to kind of dance to the beat of our own drum. The Cancer energy that we've been sitting in has been trying to do what is right for the home, right for the family, right for everyone else. Well, the Leo energy gets us back to ourselves, puts ourselves back at the top of the list. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure, she needs to have some fun. She needs to create time and energy to invite high vibe, pleasurable activities, people in her life. And Venus, when she moves into Leo, she gets fun, she gets flirty, she wants to dance, she wants to have a good time, she wants to let her hair down, and we all deserve that energy. But Venus, especially 9th and 10th, okay, prior to moving into Leo on the 11th, you can expect there to be a lot of heartbreak, a lot of pressure in the heart space, a lot of really trying to reevaluate who and what is worth our time and energy, where it is we got to muster up a brand new courage and bravery to actually see the worth and value in ourselves, because nobody else is going to see it if we don't see it within ourselves. We got a lot going on, especially with the moon this week. Okay. Not that I know I'm still struggling to get through the energy of this week, but let me just say this. Okay. When the Lionsgate Portal pops off on Monday, Monday is ruled over by the moon. We have the moon in a transition from Sagittarius energy, which is big and optimistic and hopeful and big vision and pushing our boundaries of belief and in a great vibe, okay? A great vibe for trying to manifest and basically quantum leap into a brand new storyline, a brand new soul contract. But the moon will be transitioning into Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy is the manifestor energy of the zodiac. That's where we boss up, karmically speaking, to new roles and responsibilities and get shit done. That is the Lionsgate Portal moon energy, people. That is some serious stuff. Not to mention that Tuesday into Wednesday, the moon will be in Capricorn, which means that we're coming back down to earth. We're a little bit on the negative Nancy side in this moon energy. When the Capricorn energy is potent, we get shown where it is that we're blocked, where it is we're challenged, where it is that we're restricted. Why? Because the Aquarian energy frees us, shows us the path out of us. What do we got going on this week? Well, just hours after Venus moves into Leo, we have our full moon in Aquarius. A full moon in Aquarius. Okay, so let's break this down. We go through this transition of the Lionsgate Portal. We have a big vision. We have a big dream. Then bam, we shift. Now we have new roles and responsibilities. Now we're weighted. Now we're looking at what it is that we need to manifest in our physical realm. Now we're recognizing where we're blocked. Now we're recognizing where we're challenged. Now we're recognizing where we're being kind of held back and restricted in life. Then boom, the moon moves into Aquarius energy while Venus moves into Leo energy, getting us back to the heart and soul of what it is that we want, need, and desire, what it is that makes us happy, what it is that brings us pleasure. Then boom, full moon illuminates for us where it is that we need to kind of dance to the beat of our own drum to free ourselves from the blocks and the restrictions that the moon and Capricorn should be illuminating from us from the Lionsgate Portal up until Thursday when the full moon in Aquarius happens. What does the full moon in Aquarius bring to us? Well, it brings us a flashback from the summer of 2020. We had back-to-back full moon Aquarius events at the beginning and at the end of the Aquarian energy in those degrees. The Aquarian energy is focused on us reforming, reshaping, restructuring, reorganize our roles and responsibilities to other people. On the collective level, the Aquarian energy is showing us where we have to rebuild society. On an individual level, we are being shown where it is that we have to stop sacrificing our own wants, needs, and desires to make other people happy and get back to the heart and the soul of what it is that makes us happy, makes us feel raw, makes us feel vulnerable, makes us feel authentic. New passions, new desires need to be illuminated. The Aquarian energy sits across from the Leo energy. The Leo energy wants us to be an individual, be our unique self, bringing our unique skills and talents and experiences to the forefront of our own lives, to take back the starring role of our lives, while that Aquarian energy is trying to get us to fit in, trying to make us do what is best for the group, for the team, for the collective. There's a push and pull. We're going through a timeline jump this week with the Lionsgate Portal. Our push and pull has already been activated. We feel like we're being torn into two. That is natural. Okay, that is natural. This full moon in Aquarius is not only ruled over by Uranus, okay, the modern day ruler, the great awakener himself, that is still with an orb of the true node and Mars, for us to get this sudden shift, this sudden change, this sudden perspective on where it is that we have to recreate a new foundation in our lives and be passionate and warrior-like to actually take control and do what is right for ourselves. But this full moon in Aquarius is also in a very close conjunction with Saturn, its traditional ruler, the ruler of karma, roles, and responsibility himself. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius energy, showing us where it is that we do have to restructure our roles and responsibilities in our lives, where it is that we do have to build a brand new bridge in order to get us from where it is at that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. The full moon in Aquarius is going to be heavy, but it needs to be heavy. It needs to be weighted. It needs for us to feel trapped so that we can figure out from our higher selves where it is that we can bust out of this trap, where we can find more freedom, find more independence, even if it means that we have to tap into our rebellious streak in order to fight back from the causes, from the people, from the timelines, from the storylines that are making us feel trapped, held down, restricted. We got to bust free. The great awakener Uranus, is going to shake us in all of the most uncomfortable ways in order for us to make the change, to make the transformation. Us, human beings, we only ever change when our back is against a wall, when we're tired of the pain, we're tired of the suffering, when we're tired of feeling like we're shook up in ways that will never gain stability. We need this. We need to feel this uncomfortability in order for us to find a brand new way, a brand new path, a brand new vision to our individual and collective freedom. So, I know that was quite a rant. I know that I'm highly aggravated and very passionate about trying to drive home these very simple patterns that are very evident to me. I can see the highs, the lows. I know what to expect. I try to bring as much information as possible to the forum in order for us to all be prepared so that you have a better understanding of why we're on this roller coaster ride. I had somebody reach out to me this week and say, are we making any progress at all? Like, it seems like we're just, stuck in a funk and whatever. And I need to remind you guys, like, we have never been this far in humanity's evolution ever. Like, New Earth is not created overnight. This has been an ongoing space battle for God knows how long. We have never been this far into winning and waging the war. And yeah, it feels dark. It feels heavy because the collective has been asleep for far too long. Why we're going through the pain and the suffering right now is because we're bringing all of the shadow elements from the collective to the light. We've been living in the Piscean age, which is the unconscious collective. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is the conscious collective, which means that we have to bring all the funk, all the darkness, all the shadow, all the yuckiness of humanity into our awareness and deal with it. Bring it into our consciousness and heal it. Again, we have to feel in order to heal. And that's the problem, is everybody's trying to pretend that none of this, dark, shady crap that the collective is currently going through wants to exist. People, especially in the New Age community, is like, oh, don't focus on, trafficking, or else that's just going to bring, more manifesting to that event happening. What you focus on, you bring attention to, you give power to. Okay, well, to a certain extent, that may be true. But living in ignorance and pretending that it doesn't happen doesn't mean that it stops. Okay, the more we ignore the yuckiness of humanity, the longer this painful process of ascension and shifting into conscious collective awareness, the longer this is going to be, right? You have to bring awareness to the ugliness. We are alchemizers. That's why we're activated. We're able to sit in the darkness, in the shadow work of the collective of these very heavy topics and themes, and we're able to heal it by alchemizing the energy through our vessels. We are electrical beings. We need to take the heaviness, the weight of the emotional and mental, I'm going to call it gunk of the collective. We take that in, right? Because we're all connected. We take it in. And those of us who are activated, we take it into our physical form. And because we know how to alchemize and turn that pain into power, turn that darkness into light, we spit the light back out of our crown, going back to the collective. And that raises the vibration of the collective. So the ascension process, going back to my, rant at the start of this, the ascension process, yes, is an individual journey for the greater, grander collective. The planet, Mother Earth, Gaia herself, is going through her own ascension journey. She woke up. That's why we're in this war. That's why we had the opportunity to create New Earth, because she woke up. She wanted to fight back. She wasn't ready to roll over and have her, herself, her vibration, her frequency just be killed off by the evildoers. She is essentially on her own journey, her own ascension path. That's why we're going through the Great Awakening, because we live on her. We're connected to her. If we don't raise our vibrations and frequency with her ascension path, we will not go with her into New Earth. Simple as that. Okay. So, there's multiple reasons why our own individual ascension journey is so important, because essentially speaking, when we are living in our most raw, authentic, vulnerable, happy-go-lucky selves, that energy goes back, pours into the collective, and takes us that much further out of the depths of the darkness of the shadow collective. Okay. It's all a system. It's all a process. So, Yep, that's what we got going on this week. Before I jump into the Ascension Symptoms, I do want to take just a moment to thank you, not only for being here with me in the live chat, but for constantly liking, constantly sharing, constantly commenting. That's going to help the algorithm. It's going to help push this information and this knowledge in front of the people that actually need to hear it, actually need to know it. I want to thank you for your financial donations, your gifts of love. They're all super, 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 super helpful for me right now, especially as I'm trying to recover my YouTube channel after talking about some very sticky 3D topics and themes about a month ago that absolutely just wrecked my stats, my algorithm here in this YouTube forum. So I'm slowly working my way back, still trying to mind my P's and Q's. Sometimes I get on a rant and say a couple key words that I shouldn't, and I definitely suffer the consequences for that. So I want to thank you for kind of bridging the gap with the financial donations until I can get my ad space back to where it was. I want to thank you to the new subscribers here on YouTube. I also want to thank you to the old subscribers that unsubscribed and then resubscribed in order to hit that bell for all notifications. I have heard from some people that it has been helpful for them to do that they did receive a couple of the notifications throughout this week when I launch new videos after they subscribed, unsubscribed, resubscribed, hit the bell, and of course, indicated all notifications. I want to thank you to the new subscribers, to the Energy Guide, the free membership on my website. That Energy Guide is your energy dashboard so that if you're feeling a little bit of cray-cray and wondering what's going on, all the information that you need is right there. And of course, it's free. And I want to thank you to the new subscribers to the Moon Guide. I'm so happy and so proud to see the amount of people that have decided to take on their healing journey, to do the shadow work, to align with the manifestation calendar. And of course, the Moon Guide gives you all of that resource, all of that information, all of that knowledge. I love seeing so many new subscribers because it means that many more people have been activated in their healing journey. And of course, once you've been activated in your healing journey, that means that there are more people awake in the collective and that we are constantly helping the collective shift into higher vibrations and frequencies. So again, remember that your own individual healing journey contributes whole bunch to the overall development and evolution of the collective. So I'm super excited to see that. The last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a picture of my new puppy. Many of you people have asked me about the puppy. I want to thank you for that. Being, a new pet mom again is absolutely exhausting. He's a very busy boy. But I want to kind of put up a picture, just a couple of pictures of him for a couple of reasons. First of all, I know that many of you don't have other social media accounts, especially Instagram. I do post pictures on my personal Instagram of him. He actually has his own Instagram. Yep, that's right. I am one of those pet moms. I did create a whole Instagram account for my dog. Judge or don't judge, doesn't matter to me. We're having fun with it. But the reason why I want to put this up is not only because of all you beautiful people, checking in and asking how it's going. I want to give you just a little bit of a backstory, and hopefully this will help, just kind of raise your vibration and frequency just a little bit. So for those of you that have been with me for a while, you guys would know that I lost my girl, Taya. She was 14 and a half years old. I lost her back in January. It was absolutely just devastating to me and left me and my other girl, Kaya, in a funk, in a depression. Literally, the two of us would just lay around and be sad. And of course, I've had a lot going on with my dental surgery as well. But being, in a state of depression with all this stuff going on, that's the major reason of why I stepped back from offering my services and doing one-on-one consultations, just because I wasn't in the right heart space or mind space for it. So, when my girl passed away, I kind of selfishly said to her, you know what, Taylin, come back to me. Find whichever way you want to come back to me. I know you'll come back to me. Nobody ever gets left behind. That was always our motto, is that nobody ever gets left behind, and I will always come back for her. She was my buddy. She traveled the world with me. She, I shouldn't say traveled the world. She traveled Canada with me. I guess, that is the world when you haven't left your own country. But anyways, she was my girl. She was the real reason why I was able to heal in the way that I did after my near-death experience and after I had to learn how to walk again and get my health on track. She was the reason why I got up in the morning. She was my soulmate and still is my soulmate. She just is in a different form. And so when she was passing away, I selfishly said to her to come back to me. So it wasn't too long after she passed away and I was in my depression and funk that she came to me in a dream and she told me that she wasn't coming back and she was sorry for that, but she felt like she put her time in, she fulfilled her mission, and that she, just wanted to enjoy herself and her new roles and responsibilities in the spirit realm, and that she was always with me in spirit, but that she was going to send me the next, let's call it guide, okay? The next guide that I needed for this particular chapter of my life. And all that was shown to me, I didn't know whether it was coming in dog form or human form or whatever. All she showed me were two numbers, which were 5 and 9. And I didn't know if this individual was going to be a human, he was going to be 5'9", and I didn't know if this was September or if this was May or whether, 5'9" was significant in some other way that I was missing. That's all the information I had. The other information that I had is that she told me that I would know that this, being that crossed my path was sent by her based off of the eyes. Okay. And as you all know, the eyes are the window to the soul. And Taya Lynn had the most gorgeous, most soulful, most caring, loving eyes that I've ever had in my life. She definitely was I'm going to say human spirit in a dog body. She was not a dog at all. She was definitely totally a different type of spiritual being other than being in a dog suit. So I trusted that. So for months and months and months, I didn't understand what it was. And I was constantly waiting for signs and symbols and validations, that she was coming back to me or that she was sending something back to me. And, if you've been listening to me for any length of time, especially in 2022, you would know that I had back to back deaths that were very close to me, that have definitely rocked me, that, made me question my relationship with my God and what I do, and just made me really kind of question everything. And death, even though I have a better understanding than most people of what death is all about, it definitely did put me in a spiral of my own existence and evolution. So fast forward to May, and I find a picture of this cute little bug. And when I mean bug, I mean puppy, that came across my phone, and I seen the eyes and I seen the vibe, and I just knew in my heart and my soul that this was my next dog. So I inquired, and you know what? He turned out to be mine. And I'm putting these pictures up because not only is he cute, but I want you to check out his eyes. He has the most amazing eyes in the world. And even more than that, he has a beautiful little 5-pointed star, a white patch on his chest. And even more than that, he actually has this white little heart-looking dot right in the middle of his chest. And for those of you who don't know, this is Ravi. So Ravi is Sanskrit for sun. And not only is he my son, my dog son, but sun is very healing. The sun brings a brand new light into your life. And he has definitely been doing that for me and my girl Kaya. So our lives are very tired, very busy. Of course, puppy life is a whole different change all in itself, but he has definitely done just that. He's brought a lot of love, a lot of light, a lot of healing. And coincidentally enough, not only did I find him in May, but he was actually born on May 9th. That's right, people, 5'9". So another reason of why I wanted to bring up this story is because this past week we've been being sent a lot of signs and symbols and validations of our healing journey and of spirit. And I know my mom, who is going through her own little crisis and shit show after the loss of pretty much her whole family over the last 2 years, she got a huge validation and marker for where she's at in life, being blessed by a very interesting hummingbird. And I actually had a hummingbird bless me with its presence this week as well. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because just yesterday, I was sitting here kind of dazing off and looking at pictures of my girl Taya, because her and her urn are very much a part of our living space. And, you know, as much as I love my little guy here, he's only here because she's not. And that kind of hit home a little bit. And of course, you know, if first quarter moon in Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio, everything's deep and probing and psychological and transformative and healing. So, you know, I'm sitting in the funk, and it's been very hot where I live. We're in another heat wave. And so we only kind of go outdoors for 10 minutes at a time. Then we come back into the air conditioned home. But this little guy is very busy and of course, very curious, and has gotten a little bit bored with all the indoor activities that we've had to do versus being outdoors and, you know, all the fun that's out there. And he actually got into the closet yesterday and found the bag of Taya's clothes. Taya loved her clothes, her hoodies, her jackets. She was one of those dogs who just loved her clothes. And I've been hanging on to this bag of clothes, not knowing what to do with it. Obviously, I can't throw it out. I got to hold on to it. And this little dude got into this bag of clothes and dragged her bag of clothes out to me. And so I thought, instead of bawling like I wanted to do, and making it a bad experience and being frantic about, oh my God, you know, don't touch Taylin stuff. Instead, what I decided to do is a little bit of a fashion show, and I actually put her clothes on him. And let me just say, he's not going to follow in her footsteps. He does not like clothes at all. Now, he might change his mind when the winter hits and he's freezing his little ass off outdoors. We'll cross that bridge when it comes. But Taylin had her most favorite pink hoodie. She was notorious for that. She was always dressed in pink hoodie, pink collar, studded collar, of course, pink everything. And she was quite the girl. And so I threw the pink hoodie on him, and he did a little bit of a Vogue pose for it. And in that moment, I laughed and I cried, and it was the most healing thing ever. And it just reminded me that, you know what, in spirit, our people are always with us. And I'm sure Taylin had constructed and divinely scripted that particular event for us in order for us to bring full circle the loss that we've had to deal with over this past year. Hers, of course, being the most hurtful and painful, the one that we're still kind of moving through and processing. And in her own way, she brought it right into my face. And he brought it right into my face because he is an extension of her. He is picking up on the healing journey that she left me on. And yep, Kaya, my other girl, she's very important. She's my protector. But you know what? This guy right here, he's my healer. And just to see everything come full circle, I just wanted to share a little bit of my life with you guys, because I know there's a lot of you that are very invested in the dog story especially. And I know that y'all were just so loving and supportive when I was going through the grief process with losing Taya. It was very, very hard to do, still is hard to do. And I know many of you are very happy that I was able to bring a new puppy into my realm. And so I did want to share and introduce to you Mr. Ravi, the little healing bug that he is. So with that out of the way, I do want to jump into the Ascension Symptoms. I feel like we did kind of pick off a lot of the Ascension Symptoms that we can expect just when I went on my angry little rant about the energies of last week and what we can expect for this week. But I do just want to reiterate to you that the roller coaster ride will be continuing, especially as we move through this Lionsgate portal. This means that we will continue to feel on the edge, at our breaking point, at breakdown points. Why? Because we're on the precipice of a huge change. Yes, this means that we're going to be illuminated to our impatience, to our frustration, to the lack of power or lack of control that we are currently having. And of course, when we feel emotionally and mentally crazy and chaotic and out of control, we look to our physical realm to control the elements in our physical lives that we can. That's why many of us are OCD, are, cleaning crazies, because we can have control over that. There are many habits that we can throw ourselves into that kind of show us where it is that we can have control in realms and areas of our life that we feel out of control with in our emotions and in our mental plane. But let me just remind you that if you're currently experiencing a detour, if things aren't going your way, if you're constantly pushing for something to happen and it just doesn't seem like it's happening, realize that you're being detoured for a reason. Realize that you're being saved from a situation. Realize that your ego mind knows nothing compared to your higher self, and to constantly be pushing a narrative, a goal, a vision, an objective based off of your egoic mind, not realizing that the frustrations, the blockages, the challenges, the detours are divinely scripted to A, save your ass, and B, get you on the right path that has nothing to do with what your ego's fixed on. That's why you're feeling this frustration. That's why you're feeling torn right now. Again, we're about to jump some major timelines, and for many of us, we're not on the right path, believe it or not. The urgency is going to be very, very strong, very intense, especially where relationships and boundaries are concerned. Again, Venus in Cancer, wrapping up her life lessons in this very sensitive area of home and family dynamics, recognizing where it is that we've been giving more into other people than we've been giving into ourselves, recognizing where it is that, self-esteem and self-confidence issues has definitely created a blockage within ourselves and therefore created a blockage in our personal relationships. It does have to reach a boiling point, a breaking point, in order for us to have this full release that we will have when Venus moves into Leo. Again, on a full moon, people. Okay? The full moon lighting up, illuminating hidden details, likely that started and began back in 2020, that has a lot to do with the worth, with the value that we see within ourselves and how it is that we're truly aligning with what makes us happy. This is all a domino effect. It all plays in with one another. So we do have to expect that there is going to be a lot of heart activations, heart palpitations, feeling like our chest is going to explode. This can be both good and bad. This is cracking us open so that we can be raw and vulnerable with ourselves. Our ego builds up walls around our heart space to protect us, but we can't get down to the actual fact of the matter of what it is that's painting our heart space, why we continue to do a disservice to our heart space if we don't get down to the nitty-gritty of what it is that we actually thought we were protecting our heart space from and what we actually constructed a prison for our heart space to live in. It's time for us to let those walls, to let that guard down. We do have to be raw. We do have to be vulnerable. We have to be cracked open in these ways in order for us to get back to what is real. We are going to be hypersensitive. We've been hypersensitive, but the amount of energy coming in from the cosmos is going to be freaking intense, especially around the 8-8 portal. This is going to push us in a state of feeling like we're having a little bit of a meltdown, feeling like we're on the verge of crying. If you have to cry, cry, get it out. If you have a lump in your throat, get it out. Crying is a huge purge, a huge release of energies. Even if you don't know what you're crying over, if you feel the intensity build within you, get it out. This is time to, unpack some of the baggage that we have been carrying around for a very long time that we don't need to be carrying into the new reality in which we're looking to actually manifest. Let me tell you, it's pretty hard to quantum jump when you got your emotional baggage from the past 20, 30, 40 years hanging on to you. This is about dropping the baggage. Again, Scorpio lessons, drop the baggage, let it go, surrender to it, put a death to it, shut the door on it, see it end, see it close in order for something new to actually be able to have the space to be born. Very much that Taurus energy. So welcome the boiling point. Welcome the breakdown. Welcome feeling like you're going to have a meltdown. Welcome the full illumination, the full realization of where it is that you feel trapped, where it is that you feel powerless, where it is that you feel out of control. Embrace it. You can't fight it. You can't deny it. You can't make it go away. You can't ignore it. You may as well sit in it. The power that we need to realize within us means sitting in the darkness and alchemizing it into something light. Because of this, we're going to have a lot of physical signs and symptoms of this energy being stuck, of this energy being pulled apart, of this energy feeling torn. You may feel like you have like gas stuck in you that won't move. Maybe it's like a half a burp stuck in your throat. Maybe it's not a lump in your throat from crying. Maybe it is a gas bubble stuck in your throat that won't actualize itself as a burp. We have trapped gas. We have trapped air. We have trapped emotion. That's why we're feeling the physical symptoms of feeling like we're torn apart. I want you to pay attention to one-sided discomfort, especially in your headspace where congestion is concerned, where maybe you have one runny nose, one runny nostril over the other, where maybe one eye is twitching over the other. Pay attention to what side of your body is giving you the most discomfort. This is the side of your body that has the most blockages, that needs the most healing, that needs the most attention and focus. We will be having a lot of itchiness. Itchiness is good. Okay. Itchiness is a sign. It is a symbol of healing. Think of a scab. And in the last days of a scab actually healing itself, it becomes itchy. That's why you scab pickers out there pick your scabs when they become itchy to keep that wound alive and well and open and constantly in the healing process. When we have itchy skin, it means that the emotions that were once trapped in certain areas of our body have finally made it to the largest organ, which is our skin, and that the itchiness is a sign of release, of purge, of healing. We will be having patches of itchy skin. Again, pay attention to what area of your body is the most itchy, because that's a huge sign and symbol of the release of the healing journey that you're currently going through. But I feel like we are going to have a lot of itchiness in our heads, in our inner ears, in our foreheads, if you will. Again, the amount of light codes coming in from the Lionsgate Portal, activating our crown, activating our third eye. There is this inner realm in our mental plane. Again, Mercury is in its place of power in Virgo, where mind is over matter, where we do have to hold a vision, where we are restructuring and reorganizing our thoughts, our ideas, our internal dialogue. There's an itchiness there because we are healing essentially the chaos. The Virgo energy puts the chaos in order. And this is where we need to get organized once again. Now, the exhaustion is likely going to stick around, especially because we're having a lot of sleep disturbances, mostly because our dreams are just unreal. Now, I want to call them nightmares, but they're not really nightmares. They're mostly the dreams that have such cryptic content that it sticks with you throughout the day. I'll give you, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent here. I know I'm already an hour deep, but the other day I had a dream in I was only sleeping for about 3 hours that night. Again, my little sensitive little pup here was responding to the Schumann frequencies and was up all night, which means I was up all night. But the 3 hours of sleep that we did get, I had a dream that I was pregnant, and that is a dream that always stays with me when I wake up, because as many of you know, the reason why I have these gifts, the reason why I had my near-death experience is because I had the pregnancy from hell and actually lost my children in those processes and died on the table as a result of that. And that is what triggered my awakening and my healing journey. And of course, I can't get pregnant, and I feel like I've definitely healed that particular trauma. But of course, obviously, subconsciously, there are still remnants of that part of me that hasn't, because when I dream about pregnancy, it definitely jolts me the next day. And here we are, I think even 3 days. I think it was 3 days ago that this happened. The content, the feeling, the uneasiness is still very much with me in my waking state. So that's just a cryptic, unconscious dream that makes you aware of the unhealed parts that still need attention. And again, may I remind you that healing is not linear. We go through healing through a spiral. Just when we think that we're over something, that we've provided closure to it, we get opened up to it from a different set of eyes, a different perspective. And of course, we have to do a deep dive into that particular topic and theme to heal it from our current state of evolution and awareness. So I just wanted to share that example with you that, not necessarily a nightmare, but it was pretty jolting and disturbing enough to stick with me the next day, and again 3 days later. And it's that type of dream content that is rattling up our unconscious self to unearth the I guess, unconscious fragments that we thought we have healed that are still very alive and well in our physical body because of the cellular memory and where we store trauma. So that's what I'm dealing with in my own situation. I'm sure you have your own dream content kind of not setting well with you, and that should just be an indication of what needs a little bit more time and attention when it comes to some of these topics and themes that we thought we have done our healing on. So the exhaustion, likely to stay. The sleep disturbances, likely to stay. Now, this hunger issue is coming back like you wouldn't believe. Even just like an hour after I eat, I'm hungry again. And I would say that because of our energetic bodies going through a recalibration and our physical bodies having to adjust to that, there is this want, need, and desire for all the food or for no food. And especially where Venus is in Cancer energy rules over the digestive system, the stomach, and Mercury being in Virgo energy rules over the stomach and the nervous system in the stomach as well. So we're seeing this digestive process kind of be reactivated again. And for me, I know I'm just on the extreme of hunger all the time. I just want to eat everything. So I don't know how this is manifesting for you. If maybe you're off the hunger altogether, that's a possibility too. That's just an indication that your physical body needs to be as light as possible in order to recalibrate with your energetic body. While being hungry, like myself, means that we have to do a little bit more grounding work to make sure that the physical body is grounded enough to be able to house the new levels of vibration and frequency coming in from our energetic body going through its recalibration series. So with that being said, there is a detox. We talked about this briefly last week. Our detox organs are going through a little bit of a struggle right now because, of course, the lymph node system got activated trying to carry all the toxicity out of our physical body and got blockages because of the emotional work that we have failed to do. I feel like this week we're definitely going to see the detox system come back online, which means that there may be a little bit more frequent trips to the bathroom, whether it be bowel or bladder, doesn't matter. They're both detox systems. Let me just say, as we approach a full moon, we tend to take on a lot of water weight. We tend to kind of get bound up, if you will. And then on that full moon, we see a full release of both liquid and solids and just see those floodgates open. So I would say, as annoying as it is to have some of these, bathroom issues come up for us once again, that it is a good sign that our detox system is trying to recalibrate and get that yuckiness out of our system. We do want to expect there to be a high level of central nervous system activity with jitteriness, with nervousness, anxiety, anticipating, the jump, the change, the transformation. We don't know what we're moving into. But that's part of the fun. You can't look at it as something scary because change is the only thing that we can actually count on in this life. So if you're constantly fearing change, then you're going to be in an awful state of fear paralysis for the rest of your life. You may as well look at the uncertainty and the questionable variables that we could be living in as a sense of excitement, because I know anxiety and anticipation and jitteriness, those are on the lower frequency vibrations of emotions. So if we can kind of embrace the change, embrace the excitement, and label it something different in our conscious mind, we might have a different experience as we go through this peak, if you will, of the roller coaster this week. One thing with the central nervous system popping off and all of that, anxious or anticipatory energy is that it could really, manifest if you're not doing your work in your ego self, could manifest as rage, as frustration, as anger. A lot of this is because the trapped energies and emotions are being illuminated through the new light codes coming in. They need to be acknowledged in order for us to feel it so that we can heal it and get it out of our system so that we can free up the space in order to have these new light codes actually have a space to take up space to actually bring in a new operating system, a new level of creation within us. But it never feels good to rage out, to feel angered, to feel that frustration. But again, it's up to you to realize that these are lower vibrational frequencies of emotion that is ego-based, not higher self-based, not intuitional-based, not heart space-based. which means that you're probably going to be feeling the crunch in your physical body. If you're feeling the, not so nice thoughts and emotions, that's just an indicator that you got a lot more work to do to be able to alchemize these emotions into something better. And where we're going through this little situation, especially with the moon activating a lot of the darkness throughout this week, we are needing to feel trapped in our anger, trapped in our rage, trapped in our anxiety, in order for us to open up our minds, again, Aquarian energy, to where it is that we need to free ourselves from some of these elements that are creating this uneasiness within us. The Aquarian energy liberates us, frees us, makes us more independent, but we have to sit in the funk and realize where it is that we're being blocked in order for us to conjure up a path towards freedom. The elevator feeling sensation in our gut will likely stick with us as we go through this Lionsgate portal and then again jump right into the peak full moon energies. I want you to pay attention to your sinuses. I know we talked about one-sided congestion, but I want you to pay attention to the pressure building in your head. Again, tap into the healing modalities in order to ease these symptoms if they're too overwhelming and debilitating for you. Keep a hood up, a hat on, color, keep black colors. Black is grounding. Black slows us down. Black slows down the amount of energy that we're able to absorb and put out. So if things are coming in too hot and heavy, put black on, put a hat on, put a hood up, put sunglasses on, put earplugs in, ground. It's in us to do what we have to do in order to manage these energies so that we're not being, paralyzed in a state of pain and suffering. Again, good indication on where it is that you're at in your healing journey. I want to talk about the throat clearing. Yes, this kind of plays into the lump in the throat or, I just feel like the throat clearing, we have a lot to say that hasn't been said. We have a lot that we want to scream about, that we want to cry about, that we may not even identify. We just know that the feeling is there. Our throat is scratchy. Our throat is dry, which is kind of weird because our nose is running and we do have, this postnasal drip going back in the back of our throat because of the congestion in our head. But I just feel like the throat clearing, like it's constantly going to be itchy, dry. It feels like our vocal cords are going through a recalibration. Again, that makes sense. Vibration and frequency that comes out of our vocal cords needs to change. When we, elevate ourselves to a higher vibration and frequency and go through this recalibration where the higher vibrations and frequencies are being anchored in, our voice changes. The pitch, the frequency that our voice operates at is going to change. And because of that, I think that we are going to feel that itchiness, that want, need, and desire to clear our throat as this week continues. The last thing that I want you to pay attention to is your eyes. We might be having those crusties come back in our eyes, and especially one eye over the other. Because we are about to walk through a Stargate portal where our realities are literally shifting in front of our eyes, we have to expect that there is going to be some situations, some symptoms pop up with our actual eyes. Now, yes, our third eye is going through an opening and a recalibration, but our physical eyes are operating at a higher level of the light spectrum than we're used to. Because of this, we have a dryness in our eyes. We have the want, need, and desire to blink more rapidly to try and clear our eyes from the vagueness, from the fogginess, from feeling like there is something stuck in our eyes, kind of, obscuring our vision. We're definitely going to be feeling that throughout this week, especially with the Lionsgate portal. But then again, that full moon in Aquarius, people, like that's a visionary thing. And the full moon illuminates some hidden details and layers of a situation that we weren't previously privy to, especially when we start connecting the dots back to the summer of 2020. Up until now, we're going to see a full circle accumulation of the storyline actually come into an actualization, realization in our mental plane, in our consciousness, with our eyes. Again, seeing things in our physical realm that obviously we missed in previous, inventory or previous realizations or previous reflections. It's coming full circle for good reason. We literally are jumping into a new state of reality, and we have to expect that our physical senses, our sensory system, is going to need time to adjust. So guys, that's all that I have for you this week. I know I ranted a little bit more than normal, and I I'm not going to apologize for that, because you know what? It's necessary, or else I wouldn't talk about it. I also want to semi-apologize for, I'm going to say, the more negative, passionate, semi-aggressive vibe that I brought to this particular chat here this week. Every now and then you'll hear me pop off like this, and it's usually out of frustration, because we are at such an important point for the collective to make a very important jump. And I get very discouraged and disheartened and frustrated when I don't see a lot of the people stepping up to their, prime accountability space where they're being their best selves. It really is a deterrent for me to think that we're going to be successful in making these portal jumps. But again, I have to trust my heart, my soul, my guidance, and what I know to be true. And I know that we're exactly where it is that we need to be for this particular part of the process. So I want to thank you so much for sitting with me, for sharing your time, your energy with me. I want to thank you so much for, jumping into the chat, for supporting one another, for showing love in all the different ways. I want to thank you for not only showing up for me, but showing up for yourself. I hope you have an empowered week. I hope you prepare for the week. I hope that you welcome the emotions and the thoughts, good, bad, and otherwise. I hope that you stand in your power. I hope that you make the jump. And I hope by the time I talk to you this time next week, that you will feel like you've chosen one part of you, one timeline over you, one choice, one decision over the other. It's time to pull the trigger. It's time to align. It's time to boss up. It's time to jump. I'm sending you nothing but love, and we'll talk to you soon.